How can you increase sales in the current down market that we are experiencing? I've got a guest with me today, and that is what we are going to get into. Hi, I am Tim Fitzpatrick with Rialto Marketing, and I am really excited to have with me Mike King with 5280 Sales Solutions. Mike, thanks for joining me and taking the time to chat.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tim. Happy Friday. Glad to do it.
Yes, happy Friday. We've hit another weekend. It's crazy how fast the weeks go by when you're sitting in your house.
I know the days kind of all run together, no doubt
Yes, they
about
do. They absolutely do. Well, before we get into it, do me a favor. Just tell me a little bit more about how you help businesses with at 5280 Sales Solutions. What do you guys do?
it. Yeah, great question. So 5280 is my own LLC, but I'm partnered with a national organization called Sales Acceleration. It's really the backbone of my business. And
Okay.
Sales Acceleration is a national sales consultancy, sales advisory company. Probably 120 advisors nationally, and I primarily focus on the Colorado market for my business. And we work in the small to mid-sized business space, generally with companies with a handful of millions of sales and annual revenue, up to probably 50 million. And it's a very hands-on engagement, focusing on really three areas. We focus on sales strategy, sales process, and sales execution. So when we engage a client, we're helping them build out a sales plan, helping them find their best customers, and helping them grow their sales. That's really the number one priority. And we just don't tell them what to do. We actually do it. So it's a very hands-on, building engagement. So the goal for us is to build that sales strategy foundation, that sales process foundation, that sales execution foundation, while leading the sales team throughout the engagement process. A big part of what I do is provide fractional or outsourced sales leadership to small businesses with the goal of getting their sales going in the right direction and building that foundation to win for the long term.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely on the marketing side, I always find implementation is key. I mean, you can give people great information, you can give them a plan, but oftentimes they struggle with implementation if you're not there to help. So that's awesome that you do that. So let's get into it. I mean, we've got this global pandemic we're dealing with. What kind of just quick tips do you have for business owners to help maintain sales during this time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody's being impacted, right? I think unless you're on the other side of that coin that's benefiting from this crisis, which is a small majority of businesses out there, your sales are impacted. It's probably north of 90% of companies that are being impacted on a survey results that we just saw. I think the key thing here, it's really all about adapting. You've got to adapt to the times. You just can't just hope and pray. That's not a strategy. You've got to lean in on things. So I focus on three things, and it's really adapting your mindset. It's not about focusing on the problem so much. Focus on the solution.
Yeah.
Get forward thinking, kind of lean into the problems and think about solutions. Don't get bogged down in the problems. Everybody's got problems right now. And, it's just about focusing on that area. The other thing I would say too, I got about, 7 key things here, but don't panic, right? I mean, just kind of settle down, but keep selling.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is now think about your buyers out there, the people you're generally dealing with. They're not on vacation. They're not in meetings. They're not on conference calls. They're relatively accessible. So take advantage of that opportunity and engage them. Keep the sales process going with presentations, demonstrations, just reaching out to them to let them know what's going on with your business, and you're still going to serve them as best you can, however you can, via Zoom or a phone call, whatever it may be. The other thing too is, speaking of Zoom, is to adjust your presentations, right? How are you gonna, now that you can't show up to them and take them to lunch and have that sales call,
Right.
what are you going to do? So I encourage my teams to be creative, right? Stand out from your competitors. How are you delivering your presentation? So beef up those Zoom skills. Show them a video of a new product offering that you have, maybe a virtual tour of your facility or your manufacturing line, or something unique that maybe they haven't seen before, to really kind of set yourself apart from your peers. The other thing is is don't forget about your existing customers, right? We always want that new client, that new customer, which is important to every business. But hey, don't forget about the bread and butter of your business. And it's not about selling them per se. It's really about just checking in with them, saying,
Yeah.
hey, how's it going? How are you doing personally? If I was chatting with you, how's it going, Tim? How's the family? How you guys holding up? How's the business? And those kind of things go a long way. And don't even, bring up one sales thing. Just the fact that you're checking in with them, and maybe is there something you can help them with? And it's maybe not something that you provide as a company, as a service, but maybe you've got a connection to, or an idea for them to solve a problem that they're having. Because if you can get to that point of being a great resource for a company, and you're going to be one of the first people they call back when they need help, and that's where you want to be,
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. And as I said before, it's adjusting your sales process. You don't have these face-to-face meetings. How do you adjust? What do you do? A good idea is to maybe reach out to some of your prospective customers and say, hey, I'd like to show you and tell you about our business, but what kind of information can I provide to you? How can I provide it to you to show you our products or services so that you can make a decision? What do you need? So that kind of feedback, those kind of insights that you can gather from reaching out to a few potential clients would be huge in these times, because it's maybe even great stuff that you can take forward, call it post-crisis, as part of your sales process.
Yeah.
And I mentioned earlier, but I think using technology and using it well is key. Everybody's got to get comfortable with video, conferencing, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, whatever platform, Google Chat that you're using. Get comfortable with it. And I think authenticity is huge. It's generally pretty casual, but it's like, be casual, but be professional, be prepared, and keep your presentations tight. Less is more, I think, in these times.
Yeah.
Don't overwhelm them with information. They got a lot going on as it is, so just stick to the facts and to the key bullet points. It's going to stick with them, after you hang up on the call.
Yeah, that's awesome. I definitely, adding value has always been important in sales, but I think it is even more important now. And you just gotta, it's not about selling people. It's like you said, it's adding that value. And if you know that you have a solution that is going to help somebody right now, not only do you owe it to them to talk about it, you owe it to yourself. I mean, we all have to find ways to thrive here, because if we can't, it's not helping anybody. So I love that. What about, this is a huge adjustment for a lot of salespeople. A lot of salespeople are used to getting out there, meeting face to face. What kind of tips do you have to help sales managers, business owners, keep their sales team motivated in this market?
Yeah, great question. The thing that comes to mind for me, the number one thing I think from a leadership or an ownership standpoint is, be a person first, be a sales manager, sales leader second. You have to have the mindset that your sales team needs support, they need direction, they need understanding, and they need confidence
Yeah.
that you're going to take them through this tough time. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to make it through this. And if you're proactive in your action, in your communication, and your actions are going to speak loudly right now, that's going to instill confidence in your team. Because
Yeah.
if you're just like, well, we're just going to hang in here and wait this thing pass, and whatever happens is not the good plan, right? So it's
No.
like, guys, we're going to take this head on. It's time to lean into this opportunity. Let's go see if we can grab some market share. Let's try to let's try to get into that new channel, that new vertical, that new customer that we've been chasing for years. Let's go for it. So a proactive mindset and a proactive approach is going to get your sales team rolling behind you and motivated to get going. Now,
Yeah.
the other thing too, I would say, Tim, is be calm in the storm. Right? It's crazy right now.
Yeah.
There's a ton of uncertainty out there. Um, it's turbulent for people at work and at home, right? Think about kids with young families, and they're doing homeschooling, video conferencing, and you're trying to do your work, and the dog's barking in the background, the kids are running around. So
Right.
you gotta just, kind of level set and all that, and just go, it's kind of the new norm right now, and just be empathetic to what's going on with your employees on the personal and the business front. And that kind of speaks to flexibility, right? I mean, you've got to be flexible and adaptable during these times. Think about sales goals. Your sales team's like going, we just had our goal, meeting at the end of the year, and now we're 5 months into the year, and those goals are looking tough. So,
Right.
maybe look at adjusting the sales goals to what's now possible for the year, and that's not completely known, but just know that that's something that you're thinking about from a sales team standpoint, because you let them know that you're going to do them right and do what's right for them. You're going to keep that energy. You're going to keep that commitment level at a high level, and they're going to keep pushing for you.
Yeah.
Know that you've got their back and you're going to take care of them.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I love be human. Super, super important. I mean, now is not the time to start laying into your sales team, putting the hammer down. It's just not going to help anyone. And I do think too that transparency is really important now. Just let people know on your teams what the reality is. Where are we at? How are we doing? And we can't make decisions in a box as managers. I think bringing in our entire team to be involved in that process is really, really important, because sometimes it's hard for us as managers and business owners to see the forest through the trees, and our salespeople are the people that really have their feet on the street. They have a better pulse, I think, in a lot of cases of what's going on. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, one thing I would add to that, and you kind of touched on it, but bringing your sales team in, but encourage innovation, right?
Yeah.
Brainstorm with your sales team on, hey guys, let's have a contest. Let's brainstorm on different ways that we can engage our customers.
Yeah.
And what can we do that's creative, that's innovative, that's going to set us apart from our competition in this environment, right?
Right.
Again, it's the new norm. So how are we seeing out? What are we doing differently? So, rally that sales team, because sometimes the answers are within the company, not always external.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. What about sales comp plans? My guess is there are a number of companies where this current situation has just flipped their sales comp plans upside down. What kind of implications and considerations do business owners and leaders need to think about right now?
Yeah, it's important. I think what we're seeing, most of corporate America is I would say they're kind of in a holding pattern. They're kind of a wait and see mode right now. Just because, when's it going to end? How much impact is it going to have? Obviously, impact's being felt right now, but what's that mean to the annual goal, if you will? And if you're thinking about sales compensation plans, in our minds, a good sales compensation plan will be about 50% variable compensation. So if you think about that, there's a lot on the line for your sales team if they're
Absolutely.
in that, and if they've got, if their goals are completely just obliterated right now because they've got 3 months of downtime or they haven't sold, that's a problem, right? So one of the best things that anecdotal things I've seen is a company, took that Q2 goal and kind of put it into Q4 and kind of backloaded the goal, but then they made the Q2 goals more objective and activity based. So, they still have an opportunity to earn some commission in the second quarter, but it was based on, customer engagement activities, gen activities
Yeah.
of that nature to keep them again in the game, keep the peace of mind there with the sales team, and know that hey, again, the company's got my back. They're being fair to me. I'm going to keep continuing to sell and keep highly motivated and knowing that I got a chance to make a decent part of my compensation plan for this coming year.
Yeah.
Um, there's other things you can do there. If you decide to change your compensation plan, my mindset is do what's fair and do what's right, because I think the short term, call it loss or impact maybe to your P&L on taking care of your sales team versus the long term impact of keeping your best sales team in the game
Yeah.
and motivated and with you, so that as soon as the dust settles, that your best guys aren't leaving because you just kind of didn't do anything with the comp plan. You just said, yeah, too bad. It is what it is, kind of an attitude.
Right.
You're not gonna keep your best sales guys. They're going to be looking, going to your competition or looking to go with companies that are going to take care of people. So, there's different ways you can adjust threshold payments where they start making money. Look at the metrics and how you pay them, or maybe you just say, hey, we're going to adjust at the end of the year based on how the dust settles. But again, with the mindset of doing right for your people, doing right for your sales team, because at the end of the day, this is no fault of theirs, right?
Right.
And they're with half of their compensation tied to sales and hitting sales numbers that maybe are not realistic. You've got to find a way to be fair and be realistic there in that.
Yeah. Well, and obviously, adjusting sales plans, I love the idea of going more activity based, because that's more what they can control at this point. If you just keep your same sales plan, it's not motivating at all. I mean, a lot of salespeople are just going to go, well, okay, I guess I'm just going to wait this out. I mean, why am I going to work? Because I'm never going to hit these numbers right now. So, I love that tip. What about steps for implementing a crisis sales plan at this point, which is obviously where we're at?
Yeah, so most good companies are going to have a standard sales plan in place. They're blocking and tackling how they go to market, knowing their best customers, how they're going to market, etc. So you've got to take a look at where you're at in this context and be ready to make changes to that sales plan. I'd say during a time of crisis, the best companies that are agile, creative, and quickly adapt to their sales plans are the ones that are going to come out ahead at the end. The companies that lean in and go, all right, hey, we realize the situation, boom, we're moving and shaking, let's go for it. So that's critical. So you gotta think about it, but you can't think about it too long. You got to really act
Right.
and get going. Again, think about what your competitors are doing. Everybody's got competition out there, so you could stay a step ahead of your competition and adjusting. That's going to be huge. So I think when you look at it holistically, you have to really step back a little bit though and say, hey, what's the scope of the crisis, that we're in right now? There's so much uncertainty, of course, but how does this impact all of our channels of business? Does it impact all of our products? What geographies does it impact? Kind of a holistic view of the scope. And then what's the duration like? And what does that mean? Is this thing going to be a few months? Are we going to be in this mode for several months? Well, if that's the case, if it's longer term in nature, then you got to plan for that. Then how are you changing your sales plan based on that reality, that new reality? You have to do it. So it's implement the changes that are critical for now, but it's not just make them and run with them. You have to continue to refine those changes that you're making in your sales plan, because they may not be working, right?
Right.
We changed, we adapted, we shifted. Are we still making things happen? Are we kind of hitting our revised quotas and goals? Yes, no. Well, if not, then you need to continue to refine and change those plans.
So, because of that, do you recommend people use shorter time frame sales plans right now?
Yeah, I think you have to. I think in the mindset of here's our 90-day plan,
Yeah.
and let's run with that. And I think then it's a quick after action review on, hey, what went well, what's working, what's not working, adjust, let's go forward for the next 90 days and keep the momentum going. Yeah, another good thing about doing that is it keeps your team engaged because during that
Yeah.
process, you want to pull that feedback from your sales team. Gang, what's working out there? How's the video conferencing going? What tools do you need? What
Yeah.
other resources in the company do you need on your Zoom call to help close these deals? And
Right.
because you got to keep the moving down the sales funnel, right? That's the goal. Because coming out of a crisis, you want to be in a position to thrive and to win, and by pushing forward and,
Yeah.
and doing what's necessary.
I love that. And because we're doing the same thing with marketing plans at this point. It's having a marketing plan that's more than 90 days right now, I think is a waste of time. I think you implement, like you said, you've got an after action review, you make your adjustments, and then you just keep going because things are changing really, really rapidly at this point. So Mike, these are awesome tips, man. I love it. You've helped me. I know that. So where can people learn more about you?
Yeah, I think the best way to get a hold of me is through LinkedIn,
Okay.
Mike King dash Colorado. So that's the best way. It's a link to my website. We've got, if you need some help, I'm offering a free consultation for people to get a hold of me. We've got a quick 10-question sales agility assessment, kind of a crisis agility assessment, if you will. So you can go in there and take a quick survey, and that's another way to get a hold of me as well, too. And it give you a kind of a benchmark scoring on where you're at, just on the whole sales infrastructure and foundational piece, and then we can start a conversation from there.
Awesome. Well, Mike, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat this morning.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah,
Appreciate
it's
the
awesome.
opportunity.
Great. Well, listen, thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you being here. I am Tim Fitzpatrick with Rialto Marketing. Just remember, marketing your business should not be a challenge. All you need is a plan. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, you bet.